Welcome to the third episode of the CMC Finest podcast. We got some good feedback from the last two that we did. And first thing that came to my mind when we were talking about doing another one was getting you on. Pat Kennedy, owner of Primitive Fitness, CrossFit in Freehold. I'm a member there. I love it, man. Some of the stuff you guys are doing is just beyond other gyms that I've been to over the years. So you guys are a not-for-profit. You're not a 501.
We're not a 501c3, but my partner and I, when we opened up the gym, made a decision that any money that we made outside the operation of the gym, we were going to donate to local charities, only local.
Only local. Yeah, and it's cool. In the gym, you guys have a big thermometer,
Yes.
big poster. I wish we had a picture we could show, but maybe we could throw something in there so some of the viewers could see it. Every time you guys hit a certain number, money goes out, man, and it's an awesome thing. You don't see a lot of gyms doing that.
No, our goal has been to donate $100,000 a year for 5 years.
Yeah.
Minimum, to get started anyway. Yeah. So at this point, I believe we're at just about 60,000.
Yeah.
And we've been open about 10 months.
10 months, right?
About 10
yeah,
months.
That's awesome, man. It's something that you guys are doing that you don't see a lot of, especially gyms doing. I've never heard of it until I walked into your guys' door about, what was that, 6 months ago now, about 6 months ago. And when you gave me the tour, you're like, hey, man, we're not for profit. We donate all our money to local charities. I see on the board you donate a lot to law enforcement.
Yes.
Obviously, that hits home to me.
Mm-hmm.
I like to see that, seeing guys out there and businesses out there having our back and supporting us. So it's cool, especially I noticed that a lot of your members are cops, firefighters, and military.
Yes.
And pulling up to the gym and seeing, a police patch on the front window and a military patch on the front window, and all the militaries, actually, all the branches. It just makes it feel like a cool place for, guys to go work out.
A safe spot.
It's
somewhere
pretty much,
where, Somewhere where
Yeah.
people respect what you guys do.
Yeah,
100%.
no, it's cool to see all that. So why don't you tell me a little bit about you, besides the gym, a little bit of stuff that you're into.
Sure. So my partner and I, when we founded the gym out of necessity, a gym that we were all attending suddenly closed, and we were all left without a home. So my partner and I, we both own other companies, and we wanted to try and keep our community together as best we could.
Yeah.
So we got together on a Sunday afternoon after they announced they were closing that Sunday, and we went and we found a location on a Wednesday. We signed the lease on a Friday.
Wow.
We opened the gym the following Saturday.
Wow.
So we pulled the entire thing off in about 6 days.
Yeah.
And again, it was just out of necessity. We didn't want people winding up scattered all over the place. So when we were talking about it, I said to him, here's a pretty cool idea. I said, we're both pretty fortunate. Why don't we use this as an opportunity to donate all of the proceeds that don't go to operating the gym and getting equipment things? Why don't we find local charities that we can do that with? So something happened. We were open, probably unofficially opened, about 2 weeks when Burgess, the Navy SEAL, was killed down in Virginia Beach. He passed away in a fast roping accident. And a good friend of mine who owns Born Primitive is a guy named Tim Hanlon, Bear Hanlon, and he was a SEAL. He retired last January. So I got on the phone with him, and he started telling me the story of him a little bit. Turns out the guy had 5 children.
Wow.
So we're coming in right before Christmas. So my partner and I got together and we said, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we did a memorial wad for this guy immediately?
Yeah.
And see how much money we could raise. So what we did was we put it out to our members and we said, hey, listen, we know we're brand new. This guy has 5 children. His wife is, they don't have a father.
Yeah.
Christmas is around the corner. Let's see if we could get together and we can raise some money to make sure they have a nice Christmas.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So we said to our members, whatever you guys decide to raise, Bryant and I are personally going to match.
That's awesome, man.
So we did that. That was our very first fundraiser, and we were able to raise $7,000.
Wow.
In one day.
Wow.
We did one workout. So I contacted Bear again, and I said, hey, we want to get her this money. And he's like, oh, the SEAL Foundation. I said, I don't want to go through any foundations. I said, I want all of this money to go to her.
Yeah.
So he was able to track down his Master Chief and find out where the money needed to be sent. So we sent it to Bear. Bear delivered it to the family,
awesome,
which
man.
was cool.
Yeah.
So that was a really cool feeling to be open like 1 week. And it just kind of gave us a sense of what kind of community we were going to have,
Yeah,
and what kind of
absolutely.
people we had.
Absolutely, and you could see it. You could see how tight, it is a community because
It is.
Obviously the gym I came from, all our members ended up coming over
Yeah.
with you, and to still be working out with them and integrating with the guys that you have there now, it's really turning into something. And to hear you guys do something like that for for a SEALs kid that a SEALs father that.
Well, we have a saying, and we say it about police, fire, military. We don't know them all, but we owe them all. And in this country, I think people tend to forget that.
Yep.
The first people you're calling when you're in trouble, but the first people you want to throw under the bus. So
Absolutely.
it's we want them to always feel like that's why we're so heavy on police and military. So we have a flag that hangs in our gym. I don't want to get the battle wrong, but it was an actual battle flag. And the gentleman who gave it to us is a paratrooper. And his commander put him up for an award, and his rank in the military wasn't high enough for him to achieve this award. So during the battle, the commanding officer pulled down the flag and gave it to him and said, "This is better than any medal they'll ever give you."
Yeah.
And it turned out that if you ever go and you look at the flag, you'll see bullet holes in it, and there's blood on it.
Yeah.
So it was an actual combat flag.
Yeah.
So he gave that to us because, again, we are very pro-military.
Yeah,
My
absolutely.
partner's wife, my partner Brian's wife, not wife, his sister is in the military as well. She's pretty high ranking.
Yeah.
So it was awesome. So for that day, for Mike Burgess, she came in and she sang the national anthem for us.
Yeah, that's
so
awesome.
It was pretty cool.
That's cool. That's cool. Especially, located where the gym is located. We're not too far from, like Fort Dix, McGuire, Earl. So we do have a pretty big military community there. So that's good, man. It's good stuff. And something I'm going to touch on, because you said when you first opened, you guys immediately did this WOD, or the workout of the day, to raise this money. And now every Tuesday we're doing a different WOD, specifically for Red Tuesdays, what you call it. Remember everyone deployed.
Until they all come home.
Yeah, till they all come home. It's every Tuesday, man. It's like you're giving it your all, and
it's amazing because I chart our numbers every day. I like to see what days we have heavy flow versus what days are going to be a little bit lighter. They all stay pretty consistent, but it is amazing that Tuesday is always our heaviest day.
Absolutely.
We service probably over 100 people every Tuesday.
Yeah.
And I think it's a sense of pride for people.
Absolutely.
They want to do the little bit that they can because they're not out there.
Yeah.
So again, I can't speak enough about our community. We just have such great people.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah, I notice on Tuesdays they're packed.
Yeah.
And
They are from morning till night.
Yeah, and I like how whatever coach is coaching that day, whether it's you're doing it, Sean or Rich, who I know there's other coaches, but they give a basically a briefing on why we're doing the workout and why it's called what it is. I think that's something, I'll tell you right now, no other gym that I know of or have heard of is doing it the way you guys are doing it.
And what's amazing about that is one of our members, Joe Borgia, who's he's a sheriff's officer, and he's also a veteran of the war on terror. He did both Iraq and Afghanistan, so he did multiple tours over there, and he actually writes the blurb.
Oh, he does?
He writes it for us because we feel like that gives us more of a sense of, it's coming from somebody that understands
actually
it.
understands it.
So we have Joe write that up for our coaches before everything, and we like to make it uniform that everybody hears the same message.
Yeah.
And the message is, just go as hard as you can, and when you can't, just remember he'd love to be doing it with you.
Absolutely.
Or they would love to be doing it with you, whatever it might be that day.
Yeah, that's great, man. It's a new experience, definitely. I'm starting to enjoy it, and I know a lot of guys that I talk to, and some of the girls in the gym, they love it too. So, I want to touch on, you said something about Born Primitive. You friends with
Yeah,
with
the founder.
the founder of Born Primitive. And when you come into the gym, you have a lot of shirts, merch, and stuff
Everything,
like that.
everything in our gym is from
So,
Born Primitive.
all Born Primitive. So
Yeah,
it's pretty
everything.
cool to see, to know you're coming into a gym that's wasn't just thrown together because a couple buddies wanted. You guys put your heart and soul into this.
Yeah,
and everything you possibly can.
We made one decision. We said if we were going to do it, we were going to look at what we saw to be flaws in all other gyms, and we were going to try and not have any of those. And I mean, I'm sure we've made some mistakes, and everybody could look back and say, hey, we could have done this, could have done that. But for the most part, the first thing we did was we came in and we said, our demographic is moms and dads, children, so we need a kids room. So the first thing we did was we put in a giant kids room, and that's been a game changer for us because now kids want to come to the gym, and we want to get the kids active too. Yeah. That's why we started our kids program. We have kids out there. Erin is our kids coach, and she does a great job with that.
Who was also Erin, part of the law enforcement community?
She's actually retired. She's a retired Homedale police officer. Our roots are pretty deep in the military law enforcement community. We just revere the guys. I mean, it's just you guys do an impossible job. You have seconds to make a decision, and people have a lifetime to rip it apart. And it's just completely unfair. And we want to try and do our best to support that as much as we can.
Yeah, and that's the whole point of having this conversation is to get the word out to the guys out there that there are communities of people such as the gyms and stuff like that that have law enforcement, military, have their back.
CrossFit in general is very pro-military, very pro-police. Greg Glassman, as a founder, was very pro-military, very pro-police. First responder. I don't want to leave the fire department
you can't
because
leave
you
them
don't.
because they're all part of it, and they all work out with us.
100%. So we've made some donations. We've donated to the Hackensack Fire Department. Working on some stuff for the Howell Fire Department. As far as the Lakewood Police Department, we donated a bunch of stuff to those guys. They needed some gym equipment. But pretty much anybody we can help in the local community. I mean, we've helped out other gym owners that are starting. We've had extra equipment, and we send it over to those guys. Everybody's in this together. We made a rule, Bryant and I, when we started, that we would never take members from other gyms. For us, this is a passion project. Absolutely. For other people, that's their living. So when people come into our gym, where did you hear about us? Do you have a gym now? These are the questions that we ask. Because we're not in the business of trying to hurt somebody else. That would be against everything we believe.
Absolutely.
So, and we have sent members back. Like we've said, we're sorry that, that's your gym. You have to go there.
You got to go there.
So, unless somebody tells me, hey, I moved, it's 35, 40 minutes away. We'll contact their owner if we need to and be like, hey, listen, they just showed up here. A good buddy of mine, actually a CrossFit Games athlete, is Eamon Coyne. And he was involved in a gym, and, we became training partners, and he's taught me so much. It's amazing how much I've learned from the guy. And we had a conversation about that too. I said, if anybody comes from your gym, I'm sending them back. And he said, I'll do the same.
That's
so
awesome.
we try to build that relationship. It's
kind of like mutual respect kind of thing
100%.
between the gyms and stuff like that.
Yeah, you want to have that because you don't. It's such a small community. You don't want to hurt people. Like it's
absolutely.
And people are trying to make a living. So
that's awesome, man. So I know we had conversations, and obviously you got the shirt on there. Why don't you get into some of the competitions you were doing, like the Granite Games, and what you're preparing yourself for in the upcoming future?
Speaking of Eamon owns a competition. It's a huge, huge competition. It's called the Masters Fitness Collective. They run it. Him and Bobby Petrus run it out of. There's other partners. I'm not going to go into everybody.
Absolutely.
But him and Bobby, they run it out of Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Okay.
You get athletes from all over the world, actually. This year there was 667 competitors. So I went out there and I did the team event there. The year before I did the individual event. And then I did the Granite Games as well last year. I've done the Fittest Experience down in Texas. And now I'm currently training for Wadapalooza down in Miami. So that should be a pretty fun trip. I'm doing the team event. That's in January 12th. 12th to the 15th.
To the 15th. Yeah. That's for Wadapalooza?
That's Wadapalooza.
Awesome.
So I've got a buddy of mine who's a teammate from, one's from Minnesota and the other guy is from Texas.
That's awesome.
So yeah, so
that's going to be a good time.
But the community itself, like you meet guys from all over the country, you form friendships, and then
Absolutely.
things like this happen. And
Yeah.
that's what I really love about CrossFit.
Yeah.
It's the community aspect of it.
Yeah.
There's none of this, I don't want to help you, I don't want to help you.
Yeah.
You know, guy Rick Stevenson, this guy won the CrossFit Games last year. Well, tied for first and wound up second in the 50 plus. But that guy, again, he's been, any question I've ever had, I just go back and forth, and, you know, same thing. You
That's
know,
great.
they're always
It's
willing
good,
to
yeah.
help.
It's kind of like, you know, law enforcement community. We're all tight knit. You know, the gym, CrossFit world, they're all tight knit. But now you're starting to see them kind of combined a little bit, because
100%.
law enforcement's trying to take their fitness to another level because of all the stuff and stress that we're under. Of
course.
And you guys have been right there to kind of give
Fill
us the
that void.
direction and fill that void. And it's been working pretty good, because I know guys from, you know, all up and down the East Coast that are training and training the way that we are. And it's
We probably have 20 police officers in our gym,
Yeah.
which is a big number.
yeah, absolutely.
And that's a lot for
especially
one.
for not even hitting the year mark yet.
Yeah,
you know?
we'll hit a year in January.
In January.
Yeah, in
so.
January. That'll be our first year. You know, we caught lightning in a bottle a little bit with our membership growth so fast, and it was, you know, it was sad, because one gym decided that they just didn't want to do that anymore, and they're still in business. So he'd sent all his members to us.
Yeah.
So that was a good story.
Yeah.
The other story was a guy who, you know, he caught a little bit of a raw deal, and he's a good guy, and he's well, the guy who sold it is actually a police officer. He sold it to another guy, and, you know, the other guy caught a little bit of a raw deal. So we've tried to bring his members in and take care of them, and we've tried to work with him. We've told him, you know, the door's always open, anything he wants to do. So that helped our numbers a lot. But I think we're up to about 165 members.
Yeah. And every class is packed. I mean, every day of the week, which is
We're
kind of
thankful,
nice.
and we're thankful. We're
Absolutely.
thankful for all our members. And, you know, it's funny, we have one rule. There's only one rule in our gym. It's just don't be an asshole.
Yep, that's right.
So
That's right.
the beauty of being not-for-profit is, if you are,
Yep. See you later.
you have to go.
Yep. See you
Like,
later.
we're not gonna start that drama, and we're not gonna have any of that nonsense. It's, you're gonna just come in, work out. You know, we give you guys a sauna.
Absolutely.
We have
I wanted to get into that too. And you got some
We've
things
got-
that other gyms don't have, which
we've
is
got
nice.
toys.
Yeah.
You know, the one thing we said when we opened was that there was never gonna be an athlete that goes to a competition that says, I never touched that piece of equipment.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
So we made sure we have 12 of everything.
Yeah, I
We have
know.
12 of every piece of equipment you can imagine.
And it seems like every time, you know, every other day I walk in, it's like, hey, did Pat get something new over here? You know, like the other day I walk in, you have like 250-pound kettlebells. I'm
Yeah,
like, I don't think I've seen a 250-pound kettlebell. You know, and I'm over there trying to pick it up.
And honestly, that's another gym owner, Collis from SPS.
Yeah.
Awesome guy. Big into professional athlete training,
Yeah.
things like that. A lot of quickness. A little bit different than what we do, but we support him as well. You know, we had some stuff he needed,
Yeah.
so he just wanted to bring those by, just because he's a good person.
Yeah.
He's just one of the best. So
Yeah,
he's
it's
a good
cool,
dude.
man. It's cool. Yeah, it's like I said, every time we come in, it's something new. You know, the racks are getting bigger. You know, the more rowers, the more bikes. You know, you went from having a bunch of bike ergs, and now you got, you know, Echo bikes. So we're getting, and then the program you guys are doing. I want to get into the programming, because
Yeah.
it's a lot different than other places I've been. A lot of other things I've seen. The programming is out of this world, man.
Well, it's just, you know, we use mayhem.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the guy is literally the greatest of
The
all
greatest,
time.
right?
Him or
Yeah.
Matt Frazier,
Yeah.
right? So he's got the best guy for Olympic lifting in Bergner. He's got the best guy for aerobic capacity, Chris Henshaw.
Yeah.
His whole team that's writing all the programming. It's literally just, it's game changing.
It's game changing. is
And
what it is.
it's funny, because I was having a conversation the other day with somebody, and we had some athletes come in from another gym one weekend, and they were athletes. I mean, they were athletes. And to watch our people move, you really don't get a sense of it until you see them move against other people.
Yeah.
And I can just say it's working. I can see all the other.
I can tell you out of experience and actually doing it, you know, with it, it's working, because I went from, you know, doing the movements, doing workouts, and I always felt like I could do a little bit more. Mayhem kind of pushes you to do a little bit more.
It does.
And the results are just taking off. And I'm not talking about, you know, the way you look and your appearance.
No.
It's just the way you're moving, your endurance, your stamina. It's going through the
And
roof. and
it's just the little things
awesome.
that they do. Like, they'll do the AMRAP or the Metcon, or they'll do, the workout first, and then they'll do the strength after. And people are exhausted.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people don't understand. They're like, why would they do that? Because they want you to learn how to get strong under fatigue.
Yeah.
So I mean, and in turn build the endurance to make your muscles stronger and
Yeah.
make your muscles be able to work with less oxygen.
Yeah.
And I've been real happy with the program.
I'm liking
There's
it.
no doubt.
Yeah.
Me too.
I know a lot of members are too. I talk to a lot of the guys, and
it's
they're
something
liking it.
different every day.
Yeah.
It's always
It's
different.
so different. So different. I mean, you could have somebody, there's a lot of people out there that they could program really well.
Oh my God,
I mean,
yeah.
phenomenal. And you see what you're doing, I'm working on this muscle. They're kind of sticking towards, I'm working on back. We're working on back, working on back. With Mayhem, I noticed, you're working on back, but you're working on everything.
Well, here's the thing. Most people program to what they like.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if they like EMOMs, you're going to see a lot of
EMOMs.
EMOMs. They like AMROPs, they like Metcons. They like doing a lot of cleans and a lot of stuff. You're going to see a lot of that in a lot of workouts.
Yeah.
I think that Mayhem looks at it from a perspective of you have to be good at everything.
Yeah.
So we'll touch on everything
Yeah.
all the time, but we're gonna specify on different things every day.
Yeah.
And I think that's why people become better rounded
Absolutely.
athletes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I was out of the gym for like 2 weeks. I was getting one of those vein procedures done that I was telling you about, and one of the members, Farham, good friend of mine, he texted me. He's like, "Hey man, we switched over to Mayhem programming." I'm like, "No way." And he's like, "Yeah, look at it." So I went on Modify. I'm like, "Oh my God, we are, man." So I remember forcing myself to get back there after the vein procedure and just doing the first workout, and I was like, "Oh, this is it. This is it."
And we saw Farhan, who just, speaking of him, he when he started with us, he was moving pretty good.
Yeah.
And then he got his first muscle up the other day.
I
He was
saw it.
banded,
Yeah,
but he
saw
still
it.
got a
I
muscle
did.
up.
I did see it.
He got up there. Hey,
did see it.
From where he started
Yeah,
to that,
absolutely.
that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, me and him do a lot of open gyms together. When we're rushing around for work or whatever, we got to get in. We can't make a class. Usually hit a wad together. He's he's a good dude, man. He's pushing himself, and you can see the results big time with him.
He's telling me even from the medical standpoint of the things he's going through, that things are changing in his
Changing.
body, and
Yep.
he's starting to need less of the medication or less of the visits that he had to
100%.
make, and a lot of that's attributed to that.
Yeah.
I laugh at people when they always say, "Oh, you shouldn't do CrossFit, you get hurt." Well, here's my rebut to them.
Go ahead.
Athletes get hurt.
Absolutely.
So when somebody tears their shoulder playing baseball, should we ban baseball? So when somebody blows out an ankle playing soccer, or a knee playing football, or a wrist playing basketball, is that the end of the
that's it.
sport? Should we just not play sports? We should sit in a bubble? Athletes get hurt.
Yes, they do.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
So if you take what CrossFit really is, right? Gymnastics, should we take that out of the Olympics? No. Olympic lifting, take that out of the Olympics? No. Running, take that out of the Olympics? No. So what exactly is CrossFit doing that is different than those sports? And the answer is nothing.
Nothing.
So it's just people always need a reason to be lazy.
Absolutely.
And, it's easy to say, I can't do that, I'll get hurt. But I can tell you this, we have 65-year-old people in there
Absolutely
that
do.
I'm watching
Yeah.
doing double unders, box jumps, pull-ups,
Yeah.
moving better than 30-year-old people.
That's funny you said that because I'll never forget my first maybe couple classes back. Older gentleman.
Joe.
Was it Joe?
Joe Norton.
Might
I
be.
guarantee.
Working next to me.
Tall guy?
And me. Yeah, he's tall.
Yep, that's
And
him.
I remember working out, and I'm like, I haven't been in the gym for a while, but I'm going to push myself. And I'm like, I'll get done first. That was my mindset then. It's changed completely since then. And I start the workout, and this dude is running laps around me.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, what is going on here? Just to see it. I mean, the stuff works.
It does.
It's tested. It's proven.
I mean, you look at the CrossFit Games, they have an over 65 division.
Yeah.
You've got 70-year-old men and women doing 24-inch box jumps.
Yep.
I mean,
That's great.
That's unheard of.
I know.
It's
I know.
unheard of. And what it is, Glassman's whole thing was fitness for life,
Yeah.
right? It was like functional movement.
Movement, yeah.
How do we be able to move for the rest of our lives?
Yeah.
How do we not have to sit in a chair or walk with a cane? Why should we have to do that?
Yeah.
You shouldn't.
You shouldn't.
Just
shouldn't.
your body, when your body stays in motion, your body stays fluid.
Fluid. Yeah, that's great, man. So, getting into a little bit of the injury stuff. I know you suffer from some injuries.
Sure.
I've suffered from many injuries. you doing the competition stuff, like I know when you did Granite Games, you had a shoulder injury.
Yes.
Besides doing competitions, because there's certain things that you have to do, what are some advice you can give to guys that have shoulder pain, but still want to work out?
Sure. So a big thing is crossover symmetry. I believe that's a huge part of it. It strengthens the little muscles all around your shoulder, and it starts to support everything around it, so it can protect the injury a little bit. Stretching is another huge part. Mobility is one of my biggest problems. I lack it. I'm gonna be honest. I hate stretching.
Yeah, I can't.
I do.
I can't stand it.
But since I've been doing the crossover symmetry and forcing myself to do some mobility, the pain has gone away. Because I've had MRIs where there's no tears. There's nothing. It's just there's some impingements in there or whatever. It's probably indiscretions of a misspent youth.
Yeah.
So
could be.
So the biggest thing that I always tell people is, good PT. Find someone you trust. Find someone that's not going to tell you don't do this, don't do that. Because the easiest answer for every doctor on the planet is, well, stay off it for 6 months. You'll get better. Yeah, you probably will. But in 6 months, you'll be 350 pounds diabetic, and you won't be able to walk.
So I'm glad you brought that up. So obviously, with the program that we're running, the Finest program, we're pushing for cops to be healthy, and cops with injuries, cops and their family members. It's not just for cops. So your wives, kids, anything like that. So to see, to hear you say that is a good thing, because we have the staff here at Comprehensive Medical. They're gonna evaluate you right in the office, and most of the time you're leaving with results.
Sure.
So when we brought it up when you came in, I'm like, hey man, your shoulder's bothering you, right? I'm like, hey, I want you to see Dr. Vernon. Just let him check it out for you. You're like, all right, cool, right? I tell him, hey man, can you check out somebody for me? It's not a process like going to a regular doctor's office where you got to call, you got to make an appointment, you got to wait months. You go through the Finest program, it's no problem. White glove service, we'll get you in. Most of the time, you're leaving with the results that day. If it's a little more in depth, obviously, send you out for an MRI. But what I like what they do here is, like when I had my shoulder injury, it was a quick ultrasound of my shoulder, and it was immediate. Hey, this is what you got. And then they give you the plan on what they're going to do. It doesn't take, well, go see this doctor. Well, we're going to look at this. We'll do PT for 6 months and let you know. It's, I'm not going to say they're instant results, but it damn well feels like instant results.
Listen, when there's an injury, there's no such thing as an instant result. But there is peace of mind when you know what it is. So to be able to find out what it is a huge thing, especially for athletes. Because anybody that knows a real athlete knows that they're never going to stop. And most good doctors and orthopedics and PTs know that. So they're better off giving you the answer of what it is and how to work around it. Because you may be able to get somebody to work around it because they don't want to further an injury, versus just not knowing and saying, hey, we're going to send you for an MRI in 4 weeks, and you'll get the results 2 days later. So you're pretty much on the shelf for 5 weeks. People just aren't going to do that. They don't. They're not going to. People don't. Real athletes don't respond to that. So I think what you're saying right there is amazing. That's a great thing.
Well, that's about all the time that we're going to take up doing this today.
Perfect.
I would love to have you back in a couple weeks, a couple months or whatnot. We'll figure some other stuff out. I really think the audience is going to enjoy hearing the ins and outs of CrossFit, number one, or just overall physical health. And I hope people see this and they realize that, not only is there an office where I can come and get, treatment, there's people here that are here to help me. There's also a gym that's out there, donating and helping charities.
And anybody can do it. It doesn't matter your age. I don't believe in any of that. Age is a number.
I'm with you on that one.
You can do whatever you can do whatever you put your mind
I got
to.
firsthand experience in your gym, seeing some older guys and girls crushing it, man.
Absolutely.
Healthy as can be. So
it's amazing.
Again, thanks, Pat. I appreciate it, man.
Appreciate you having me.
Thank you.
See you soon.